Hi, everyone. Henry DeVries from Agency Rainmaker TV. This is where we help agency owners, marketing experts, digital marketing providers find right fit clients. And we always believe the keys are marketing with a book and a speech, and a book you're proud of and a speech that you're proud of. And I have a talent agent with us today. Monique, why don't you introduce yourself and your business?
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Monique Sarr. I am president of BNC Speakers and a talent agent with my agency called Vitesse. We represent influencers, speakers, and founders that have recently exited and are now looking to make their mark on building out their personal brand and their speaking careers.
I wanted to have Monique on today because we've studied the top ways to attract new clients. And if we're looking at the seven top ways, talking is four of the seven different things about speaking, either to a small scale audience, on a podcast, on a stage, through a YouTube video training, all of these things. So, Monique, it's so great to have you here. What services do you provide for these people?
Yeah, so right now as a talent agent, we also help source and land these deals. So I do love a good negotiation, and that's what I enjoy being a part of. And I also do offer consulting and coaching services on how to turn that positioning into profit. Because even if you have like tons and tons of followers, and you're not getting that paid dollar amount, positioning is everything. Positioning is what gets you paid, and that's why I consult on.
That's super. So why don't we talk about two things? First, how you make it rain, how you find clients, and then I'd like to hear about how you make it rain for those people, how you help them land those gigs and deals.
Yeah, absolutely. So how I make it rain, I do a lot of things, luckily through relationships, and I'm very, very lucky and fortunate that I can get a lot of referrals. And so I'm a big fan of like the old belly button to belly button deals and the belly button to belly button handshakes. And so you can catch me out there, like going to trade shows and taking people out to dinner and doing things the old-fashioned way. I know that, in this world of social media and, the internet, I feel like I can make that really great impression doing it that way. For my clients, I pretty much do it the same way. Although, when I'm working for a speaker or a talent, I can say things about them that they can't quite say about themselves. And so it really makes a difference when I can be the one just like hyping them up. And if they're not in the room, even better, because I can really say all these things without them feeling embarrassed or, trying to go hide in a corner or something. And so, when I'm in those meetings and I can handle that negotiation, that's where I can ask for numbers that they've never been able to ask for themselves. And so that's how I do it for my clients.
Nice, nice. And then uh, how do you, I don't know, source these things? How do you generate leads?
Yeah, so a lot of it is through trade shows, actually. So I will find a lot of there are trade shows and conferences in the world that are actually built for events professionals. And so there's one coming up in Germany that we'll be attending in May called IMEX Frankfurt. And so I'm going to a lot of these and just connecting with other vendors in the space. So like hotels, lighting individuals, sound check people, AV, production teams, because they are obviously building the bones and the foundation behind some of these productions. But as a vendor for speakers, I definitely want to be in contact with them too, because if, they might come into situations where like, hey, a speaker just pulled out last minute. Can you get me somebody? And so I want to be top of mind. I want to be the first person that they call. And so I'm literally getting leads the old fashioned way. I'm getting business cards. I'm calling on them. I'm adding them to my database. I send them a monthly newsletter, just like with some of the new talent that we've signed. And I'm just staying in touch and just bringing it back to that human connection. So if we can be human first, I think that's where we can really make the magic happen.
Talk about compensation. How do you get compensated?
Yeah, so we do take an agency fee based upon all the deals that we do sell. So we do have some outreach services that are available. However, we do take on a small number of those speakers every single year. But most of our fees and our compensation comes from the deals that we source. So obviously, this is why we are pitching at a high level for you because we want to make sure that you're getting paid, but we take our cut too.
So how is this different than, a speaker's agency or, yeah.
Yeah, so very similar actually. I wouldn't say it's too different. I would say that the thing that makes me different is that, I am the one that's behind it. And so, like, I like to do things through these relationships, right? And so, I want to make sure that we do have a really good vibe check. And so, as long as, like, we have good relationship, the talent that I'm working with, if you respond to me in like a timely manner, like, it sounds so small and so basic, but those are the things that really matter to me. Um, and what makes me different from a bigger speakers bureau out there is my book of business. So my black book of contacts may not be as big and as extensive, but I do have a lot of clients in certain categories, such as the financial services and insurance space, the technology space, as well as the automotive space. So I would say my automotive book of business is definitely a lot bigger than the other two, but that's where some talent is coming to choose to work with me over a traditional speakers bureau.
So that led to my I was going to do the follow-up there. Um, can you share the percentage that you asked for?
Yeah, so it ranges between 20 to 30%, and that just
Okay.
depends because I do have other agency partners that we do work with. So, if I'm collaborating with another agency for maybe one of their clients, we just need to make sure that everybody gets their cut. So that's the only time
Yes.
it would be like the higher 30%.
And then how can people find you?
Yeah, so best way to find me would be on my LinkedIn, Monique Sar, or my Instagram at moniquesar.boss.
And that's spelled SAR, and then Monique the usual way. Okay. Well, Monique, thank you so much for being with me today. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we say goodbye?
Yeah, the last thing I want to add is like if you're on the fence and if you always wanted to come and share your message and do speaking, like just start, right? You can always iterate over time. We have a lot of thinkers and talkers in the world, but we don't have enough doers. So I'll leave everyone with that.
There we go. Thank you so much. For the uh, more wisdom, seek out Monique. And to our viewers, until next time, make it rain.